Okay, we're recording. Yay! Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. I've missed you. It's nice to see you, Kimmy, because usually I get you while before the COVID-19, you were always at the gym, joining us from the gym. So this is kind of nice.
Yeah, I was afraid it was going to rain, so I didn't plan on working out today.
Well, I want to make sure. Okay, look, I'm just double checking to make sure nobody's joined. Okay, we're good. All righty. So last week we did like a free flow chat, and I kind of talked about dealing with life and COVID-19 and all that good stuff. But I want to get back to what I had originally started doing our training on, which was the high performance habits from Brendon Burchard. So we're going to do some teaching, and then I'll kind of open it up for questions when it's all said and done. So today we're going to talk about energy and generating energy. So one of the things when I was doing some research on this, I kind of just Googled energy, and the interesting part was I think it was like generating energy or something. I don't remember even what I put in Google, but the finale of Oprah's show showed up. So I was like reading through it, and she had said that nobody but you is responsible for your life. Doesn't matter what your mama did, doesn't matter what your daddy didn't do, you are responsible for your life. So you're responsible for the energy that you create for yourself, and you're responsible for the energy you bring to others. So I love that because I really think that's kind of in line with what we talk about with law of attraction, right? So she shared an example from a doctor by the name of Dr. Jill Taylor. Sorry, I'm just fixing my earphones here. Dr. Taylor is a 37-year-old Harvard brain scientist, I think she is, and she suffered a massive stroke, on the left side of her brain. So she couldn't speak, and she couldn't remember even her own mother. But she did say that when doctors and nurses would walk into the room, she knew from her right brain who was on her side. She could actually feel their energy. So Oprah then shared that Dr. Taylor had given her this gift that was hanging in her makeup room, and it says, "Please take responsibility for the energy that you bring into this space." I actually have that sign in my office. So I don't know where I had heard it from, and I don't know why or where it was there, but I used to put, well, I still put quotes on my dry erase board that's in my office, which is still at my office. And I would just put usually leadership quotes or, a lot of Tony Robbins or John Maxwell. But for some reason, I had written, "Take responsibility for the energy that you bring into this space." And at first when I read it, I kind of thought maybe somebody would feel kind of offended when they walked in and saw that. But I was like, you know what? They got to own it. I got to own it. And I think we all know that that's true. So I need to own my response to any energy you bring in, but you've got to own the responsibility of your own energy as well. For example, if you go into an experience with crappy energy, expect a crappy experience. Come into that experience with joyfulness, you can expect a much more positive experience. So we know from our law of attraction study that what you focus on, you manifest. You're a constant creator of your life. That means that you can create, change, or magnify what is happening based on the energy that you bring into any given situation. You must decide in the moment, what is the energy that I want to bring? And your brain will always find a way to make it happen. We know this to be true from the law of attraction. We know that what we focus on, we manifest. We know that if we come into a situation expecting something bad, and then we're shocked that something bad happened, no, we're not, because the law of attraction did exactly what it's supposed to do. You focused on it, it brought it. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The world belongs to the energetic." So energy actually has two meanings, and both have an impact on the quality of your life. So in the dictionary sense, energy refers to the strength and vitality required for sustained physical or mental activity. So in essence, are you able to get stuff done, or are you lethargic or apathetic about life? The other more spiritual meaning is similar to what we talk about in the law of attraction. It's an aura that surrounds you. It can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be neutral. Either way, that energy is created. So just as the same way as a power plant doesn't have energy, it creates it. You do the same. You can create energy, and you can create the energy that you want. So I want to talk about a few ways that you can generate the right type of energy in any situation. So the first way is to release tension and to set intention. So what does that mean? Well, Brendon Burchard talks about how high performers are absolute masters of transition. So it's very similar to what we talk about with Abraham Hicks and the practice of segment intending. We talked about this in a previous training that I had done. So this practice always allows you to choose what energy you bring into each segment or transition of your life. So getting in a car, transition. Getting out of the car, transition. Making a phone call is a transition. Arriving home after work to spend time with your family, a transition. So these transitions, each and every one of them gives you an opportunity to amplify and restore your energy. So I want you guys to think about a few things on whether or not you need to be utilizing this practice. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find that everybody will need to utilize this practice because I know I did, but do you carry over any negative energy from one activity to the next? So you're on the phone call, your mother calls you, brother, sister, best friend, whomever it is, coworker, boss, pisses you off, and now you go walking in from your car, being upset, into your home. Did you take that energy with you into the home, or did you stop it? Do you feel depleted, but still keep pushing through without taking a break? I know that I've noticed I've been doing that a lot working remote. It's not so much that I want to, I just catch myself not taking a break. In my old, I shouldn't say old role, but in the old way of doing things when I was in the office, I left to go visit clients a lot. I got to break up my day. But now I'm sitting here making phone calls. And sometimes I'm dealing with a frustration, an issue, a problem, a challenge, and I'm not taking a break before I jump into another call. So I'm now looking at that and thinking about ways that I can kind of better segment and tend. So are you losing a sense of presence and appreciation as you get further into your day? Are you burnt out? So if you're like me, you might have answered yes to all three, but if you answered yes to any of those, then you need to start practicing this for 1 to 2 minutes where you center yourself and get refocused in between each activity. Now, I mean, here's the thing, even segment and tending can get over the top. If you think about every time you do one thing to the next, you're having to stop and take a break for 1 to 2 minutes. It's like, that's just way too much. I don't want to do any of that. But if you think about the major transitions, the getting in your car with your child, and segment intending or putting an intention about how you want that car ride to go, what you want to bring about with your child, what kind of conversation you want to have, how you want to have that feeling. You leave them, they drop off, you're in the car by yourself. I'm using me as an example because that's usually how my day goes. And then I head into work. I don't need to segment intend on after I drop off my daughter and I'm in the car by myself. I mean, it would be nice, but it's not something that I feel is absolutely necessary. However, leaving my car and now going into a new activity of going to work and seeing the people I work with, that's definitely something that would be wise to take a couple minutes in my car before I get out of my car and decide, purposely intend how I want that day to go, how I want my first interactions with my team to go. So it's actually a very simple practice. So first you're going to close your eyes for like a minute or two. I mean, it's so simple, you guys. It's almost ridiculous how easy it is. And you're going to repeat the words release over and over again. Now what this does is it tells your brain and it tells your body to release all of the energy, whether it be good or positive or negative, from the last activity and not bring it over into the next activity. And the reason is it's not necessarily that you're trying to forget what happened. You're trying to give yourself a fresh start and be ready and directive and intentional about what it is you want the next thing to happen. So once you've said release for a few minutes, you're just sitting there and you're just like release. You can say release tension, release stress. You can say all those things if you want, or you just say the words release. They have the same impact. But once you feel that you've released that tension, you're going to ask yourself, what energy do I want to bring into this next activity? So just like we talked about with segment intending, I want to be joyful, I want to be loving, I want to be empathetic, I want to be courageous, I want to be whatever it may be. Set your intention and your brain will figure out a way. Now, while I've been studying this, I've been working on practicing it, right? So it's kind of fun because I get a chance to kind of, I know it, but I want to practice it before I kind of talk to you guys. And so I'm getting better at it as well. I'm not perfect, but I've been doing it before every phone call and before every email that I send. Now, here's the thing I've noticed. My emails are coming across better. I'm catching things as I'm writing them and going, oh, that didn't sound as the way I wanted it to. And I'm rewriting it quicker than I would if I'm in an emotional state of mind. It's because I set the intention on how I wanted the email to come across. With COVID-19, a lot of the emails that I'm sending, I have to be very careful about because some of it is about delicate information that's happening out there, whether it be a temp that might be concerned about exposure to how I deal with it to an HR individual to not make them feel like I'm trying to tell them that they're doing something wrong. There's a very fine line there. So I'm being very, very intentional with how I want it to be when I send that or when I pick up the phone call. All of my calls have gone so much smoother in the last week and a half. So I definitely recommend this. Now, the second one is kind of fun. It's basically just bring it. I mean, Abraham Lincoln says, most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. Now, I think we all know this, law of attraction again, totally powerful and empowering, but it goes hand in hand with taking responsibility for the energy you bring. So you want joy, then bring it. It's a choice. Positive emotion, prerequisite for high performance. You want to have the best of your life, you're going to have to bring it. So bringing the joy is as simple as focusing on gratitude and appreciation. See how they link again with law of attraction? If you're struggling with something going on, use what Abraham tells us to do and go general. Soothe yourself like you would a child and gradually get yourself back up to where you want to be. The other side of this is if you don't feel good or can't get to a more positive place, like you can't soothe yourself up there, do not make any important decisions or take actions that impact important areas of your life, okay? It won't turn out the way you want it to, and you'll be left with an even more negative emotion. Now, the last way to improve your energy is to optimize your health. Kind of seems like it's common sense, but as I've learned often with Brendon, common sense isn't always common practice, right? We know we should take better care of ourselves. Problem is, we do some of it and not all of it, and we don't do it every single day. So take your supplements, drink 80 ounces or more of water a day, move every day, stretch every day. This one is a huge one that I'm learning more and more about how important and vital stretching is to your overall health. A lot of times our muscles have been kept in this tightness for so long. And maybe we kind of stretch after walking or doing some, light exercising or what have you, but we're not giving it the 15 minutes or more to really, really release the lactic acid that's in your muscles and allow your muscles to stretch and allow your body to detox. It's a huge, huge thing. And then of course, as well as anybody with being on this call with law of attraction, self-care. That's a big one. Right back to Abraham and the law of attraction. So you know how important it is to give yourself the self-care you deserve, but we just often don't. So we're now all home alone, or maybe not alone, but with family, but we're away from family, coworkers. We're away from the constant friendships that we have. We're away from going out to lunch with friends. So there's some of those things that were self-care that I think required us to go out, right? Getting your nails done, getting a massage, getting your hair done, sometimes just shopping, retail therapy, that kind of thing. So you still got to take the time and figure out ways that you can do that for yourself now that you can't really leave the house that much. Is it you take a nice leisurely bath? Is it you read a trashy novel? Whatever it is, do things that make you happy and don't put that to the side while you're also dealing with a shelter in place. So if you keep pressing through, not taking a break and beating yourselves up every single step of the way, you're going to wonder why you're not making progress, but it's obvious, right? So again, there's really simple ways to improve your energy. It's release tension, set intention, release tension and set intention, bring the joy, bring it, and then optimize your health. I mean, these are like basic things that I think we all pretty much understand. I didn't realize that Maria was waiting for us. There she is. This is what happens with these. I don't see them until I hit chat. I get on a roll and then I miss it. But these are the things that are very simple to do, but we often forget how easy they are to do and that you have to do them every day, right? So meditating every single day is helpful. Meditating every other day, not so much. Now, it's not unhelpful. That's not probably the right word to use, but you guys know what I mean. But it's not going to get you the result you want. I committed to myself on Monday. I was like, you know what, I'm hoping only 4 weeks till we have to go back to the real day job and not, you know, be at home. I'm hoping May 4th continues to be the day we all go back. But I figured I got 4 weeks. For 4 weeks, 28 days, I'm going to commit to a bunch of different things. I wrote out a huge list, and I'll even show it to you guys. But I typed it all up. This was, oh, that's my other Brendon Burchard thing. But this was me committing on a Sunday morning to everything I want to change in my life. And it wasn't necessarily like huge, huge things. They were really practical things that I know I need to do anyway, but I wrote them down and I said, here's what I'm gonna do for the next 4 weeks. Brendon's also a big thing, and I talked to you guys a lot about that planner, about chunking. If you have a goal and you wanna have it done, you gotta schedule what you wanna have done. What are you doing every week, every day to get to that goal, right? So I have planned out exactly what my morning will look like so that I can commit to my workouts, which has been not the easiest for me to do. But even though I'm working from home, I'm still up at 5 a.m. every single day. This is my list, so it's right here. It says, wake up at 5 a.m., feed my kitties, because I got to feed my kitties. It's very, very important. I work out, I shower, and then I meditate and stretch. So I know that seems really simple, but it's like, here's what happens. You're in your mind, you think this is what I'm going to do, but then you go to do it and you're like, oh, well, I really would rather watch my TV show from last night, so you don't meditate or you don't stretch. Or you're like, oh, I just won't work out today and I'll do this instead, or I'll sleep in a little bit. So I figured if I wrote it down and said exactly what I'm doing at 5 a.m. I wake up, this is what I do, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this, I will have my plan. I also put down a lot of different things that I wanted to deal with: work, plexus, my health, my finances, my spiritual life, my personal development. And in my notebook, so there's a really great thing in here, and I know I probably should get paid for freaking talking about Brendon Burchard so much, but there's a spot in here called Month Ahead at a Glance. I don't know if you guys can see it real well. But what I did is on the side, it's got all your major projects you want to do, and I gave it like little codes. So like an email campaign was EC, right? And so I scheduled it. I sat down on Sunday and I scheduled my entire month of what days I was going to be focused on spending time getting that email campaign done, because I want it done by the end of the month, right? So there are little things that if we plan them, we will do them, but if we don't plan them, we won't. And if you don't have the energy to do it, we all know how this goes. We all came into Plexus at the same time, kind of thinking run down, tired, whatever. The great news is I don't say I'm tired anymore, but I will tell you the way I was eating and not working out as much and not drinking as much of this, I was getting run down, and I was starting to have to focus on a little bit more coffee than I was used to. I started realizing I was convincing myself that I was drinking enough water, but when I really started tracking it, I was only drinking 60 ounces of water a day, which still is quite a bit compared to most, but not as much as I need. I was definitely taking my X Factor in the morning, and I was definitely taking my ProBio and BioCleanse and stuff in the in the evening, and my Mega X, but I wasn't consistent with my balance. I wasn't consistent with my MetaBurn. So there were so many things that it was like, okay, these things I knew were musts, right? For me to be healthy, I knew these were musts. But for me to have the energy that I really wanted, I needed to be drinking more of this, and I needed to be watching the calories that I put in my body, and I needed to be moving. And all of a sudden in 3 days, I'm like this person again. And I was before kind of making it happen, right? Like it wasn't that I was not energetic. I've always had a high level of energy when I speak, but I really felt like it was becoming more and more back to the way I was, where it was becoming more artificially induced as opposed to the natural me. So I'm teaching this to you guys because I'm teaching it to you. I also teach it to myself. So now that I've kind of talked on that, are there any questions or anything going on that you guys want some extra knowledge about. I'm happy to answer any questions or just hear what you guys have to say.
Have you found that in doing pre-planning that you've gotten up every day and done what you've said you're going to do?
Since Monday, yes. So the other thing that I put on there was that I was going to, this is on my, it's called Personal Growth and Spiritual Enrichment. I was going to work on my daily planner and his program 1 hour a day, do my meditation, 15 minutes a day. I even wrote like which ones. Am I going to stick with Abraham Hicks or do something different? Read 30 minutes a day of a personal growth book, read 20 minutes a day of a Abraham Hicks book. Planner must be completed each morning and each night. So what I have learned is that when I focus on doing my planner in the morning, which it asks you those questions, remember I told you guys there were those trigger questions on like, what am I looking for? What do I want to do? What do I need to happen? I then take what I planned and I fit it into my day. I don't do it the morning of. I usually plan the night before. So kind of like go back to Robert Half days. Like I'll sit there and I'll look at what my calendar is for the following day and I'll say, okay, today I committed that I was going to work on, I've got them all sitting over here, like contracts or something. And so I'll go, okay, what time frame am I going to work on contracts tomorrow? Okay, there's a good chunk of a half an hour or an hour that I've got. This is going to require too much mind power. I'll put it on this time. And I do it the night before. And so what's really great is in the morning when I come in, I get the alert that says it's time to work on contracts. But it happens 15 minutes beforehand. And then I snooze it. And then I have it where it comes up 5 minutes beforehand. And then at 5 minutes beforehand is when I take my moment. And I kind of like, okay, breathe, no more of sales calls, get the sales call energy moving, and then back onto that. But I've been up at 5 a.m. every single morning. I've been committing. I did the 100-day workout or morning meltdown. I don't know. I mean, I hate to say it, but one of our competitor DS companies is doing the free, online workouts. And so I went, what the heck? I actually did the free trial last year, but for some reason it's all there and I didn't have to pay anything more. So, hey, hope they don't catch that. I mean, it's not that expensive anyway, but let me tell you, I did CrossFit a month or so ago 2 months ago with Alyssa, and I did like an hour of that thing. Okay. Yeah. I was a little sore the next day, but nothing like this one. Like I am telling you, I thought I was doing the modified and I woke up yesterday morning and I was okay. And then by last night I was like, oh my Lord, like I'm not sure I can sit on the potty kind of thing without holding the side as I like went down. My quads and my hip flexors and my glutes were sore. But yeah, it's been really good. And it's amazing. Like when I do stuff the night before, I feel so much better in the morning because then I can just focus on that stuff instead of, oh, I've got to do this. And then I've got to get that done. Oh, and I forgot I got to do, this thing for work. I also automated a bunch of stuff, which has made it super simple. Like I have my team doing a lot of things that I was doing before because somehow I felt like I needed to do everything. So I'm trying to come up with new ways to automate more things so that I have more time.
How is your company making sure like everyone's getting their work done? Like, is it the honor system or?
I mean, probably technically the honor system. Can they look at everything and see what you're doing? Yeah. I mean, IT can pull up and check activity. I mean, I made sure that my team knows to do their activity, which is why I think my team survived and the other team did not. So, I mean, again, I had already put some things in place, right? So, I mean, the good news is that I was already putting things in place to deal with if we lost our largest account because we kind of like lived and died by the Anaheim Convention Center. And during Christmas time, we realized how reliant we really were. I didn't know because I hadn't been managing the team when we didn't have Anaheim Convention Center. So now that we did, I could see the huge swings. I mean, like it was like it doubled our business. So when you didn't have it, you're like, oh, ouch, And so I was like, what's life going to look like after the Anaheim Convention Center or without the Anaheim Convention Center? So we were already kind of putting things into play. And then the Anaheim Convention Center started slowing down at the end of February before we went into the shelter in place. So my team was already on that, what do we do in case they don't come back or we have the shelter in place? Already had remote meetings set up. We already had a process in place for if we did go remote. And so when we did go remote, the first thing I told everybody was, look, you may end up working more than you probably did when you were in the office. Because one, you have no distractions, right? So you don't have the people in the office next to you coming over and asking you 75,000 questions. You also feel, if you're the right person, now not everybody's gonna be this way, but I knew my team was, they're going to have their own guilt about doing things. Like I noticed I would take my lunch and I would sit on the couch and start watching TV and feel guilty. Like I was cheating or something, you know, but I'm at home. I'm like working from home. It's lunchtime. I'm okay to have a lunch. So it took me a little bit of time to even get my own self to kind of realize it's okay to take this time. But they were on it. I mean, they knew I was checking activity. They knew I was looking up stuff, and I made sure if they looked up my activity, they knew I was doing stuff, right? Like what I expect of them, I don't not expect of myself. And I will tell you, and if you guys saw my post on Facebook this weekend, I can tell you there's a good reason why that branch was closed. And when everybody is having their emails forwarded to me, and all I'm seeing are Nordstrom, Lululemon, or Lululemon, or whatever it's called, every single retail place and their mother. I mean, I was like, what do you guys do at work? And I mean, I'm not going to say I've never done something that's personal while I'm at work or even used my work computer to do it. Okay, I'm not saying that, but I didn't use my work email to buy tickets at Ticketmaster. You know what I mean? It's like I used my personal. And there's no reason when you've got one of these that you should. And that's what people are not realizing. I think people are going to have a wake-up call. There's a lot of, I feel bad when I say this because I don't want to make it this swooping thing, but there's going to be a lot of people who are going to lose their jobs in the office sector, not talking about retail and those who have a very different type of thing that's going on, but the office sector. They are going to look at the people who are not doing their jobs, who have bad attitudes, who are negative Nellies, and they are going to be the first people that get grouped into the layoff group. You know, one of the things that my boss had said to me when they were making the decision about what they were going to do, they thought about it and they said, okay, during this COVID-19 and this time frame, because, you know, we don't know what's happening. We've got companies that are just like everybody else that aren't hiring as much, positions being put on hold. Can we support the LA team during this crisis? And the answer was no. They looked at the accounting team in Orange County. Can we support them during this downtime? And the answer was no. Can we support NS Orange County, which is Nelson Staffing Orange County? And they said a resounding hell yes. So they have now created what is now being called a mega branch. My branch didn't grow, it's still the same people, but we're being termed as a mega branch. So I guess at some point in time, I'm gonna have this ginormous group of people in Orange County servicing all of Southern California. But for right now, it's just my little old team, and we're kicking ass and taking names and being grateful every single day that we have a job. I can tell you a big thing that's helped my team, and if you guys are working with people remotely, I know, Debbie, I think you had to be home as well for a little bit. Getting everybody else onto these videos and watching positive motivational videos and talking through it. And now my team is alternating who's in charge of the afternoon meeting, and whoever's in charge of the afternoon meeting is responsible for sending out the video. It's now having them start looking at things differently, and now they're engaging more, because after a while it becomes Trisha talking all the time. And when it's your boss talking all the time, that's like, shut up. Like, did she ever stop talking? Now it's like, I just put myself on mute and I wait for them to go, Trish, what were your thoughts? And then I speak for a few minutes and I'm like, mute. And then I'm like, that was so much easier. But everybody's getting excited about it, and they're being able to talk through, just like we do on these calls, they're being able to talk through ways that they can bring more positivity, bring more energy, bring more inspiration, bring more motivation to their daily activities. So I don't know how the rest of the company is doing because they're all up in Northern California, but my little group seems to be holding strong.
Do you guys have a team in San Diego?
No. No, we did at one point in time, because we had a gaming interactive team. So it was Sony Interactive that we had down there, but not anymore. Because I only have Blizzard now as a interactive client, which is fun. How's everybody else doing? Debbie, how you doing? Are you still at home today? Do you go back to work tomorrow or?
No, I went back to work today.
Oh, okay. I remembered seeing that and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Why'd they make you go home? Was it just because you needed a break or?
No, they closed the base down for 48 hours so that they could make masks for all this people on the base, because we have to wear masks when we leave the house and go into town. We have to wear masks at work when we're within 6 feet of another person. So everybody's in the whole building with masks on all day and trying to do work. It's so much fun.
Which is weird. It's so weird, right?
It is very weird. And when you have to put that mask on and you wear glasses, it fogs your glasses up. So you're talking and, it's like you're trying to talk and your glasses are getting all fogged up and you're like, what?
Yeah, my husband made me him and I I can't remember, I think it was this weekend, makeshift masks. So he used a bandana. It was just so if I coughed or whatever, and to keep me from touching my face, right? Well, what happened was I ended up having to take it and pull it away from me because I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh my Lord, I'm feeling like I'm going to hyperventilate or I'm claustrophobic all of a sudden. I'm like, this is not going to work. I did order some Disney masks that should be here soon. So
that's cool.
At least I'll look cute. I got my Cheshire cat coming.
Here's one of them. Here's one of my little masks.
There you go. That looks fun.
No.
I mean, at least it looks cute. I know.
You put your makeup on in the morning, getting ready to go to work, and then you get ready to go get in the car. You don't have to wear it in the car, and then you go to put it on to go into work. It's like you take it off, and there's the lipstick.
Well, and then if you're not careful, I think when you put it back on, you might end up with lipstick on your chin or on your nose too, right? Oh my goodness.
Hopefully this will all be over with soon.
I hope so. It really depends on who you talk to. I mean, I was on the phone with the director of finance today for the Salvation Army, and he was a little bit doom and gloom, but I was like, let's try and remember what it was like during the other economic downturns and before it happened. I mean, and Kimmy knows this, in staffing, we always see things first, and we always see the impacts beforehand. This time, yeah, there's some layoffs, but more people are working remote. I didn't have as many people lose their jobs, and I have companies that are hiring. So, and here's the interesting part. I can't fill the positions.
Oh yeah, because people don't want to go to work.
Nope. They don't want to work.
They're afraid.
Well, some are and some aren't. Some just don't want to work.
Yep. They're going to take the
unemployment.
unemployment.
I'll do it. And then you call to tell them there's a drug screen or a background check, and like, oh, can't do those.
Well, that's like at my work, my job, I have two different computers and 4 different screens set up. One is a government computer and one is my work CAE computer.
Uh-huh.
So I have to have both to interact to do my job. So I can't do my job from home. Well, and neither can my other scheduler or my admin or the other guy that's in our office. We have to be at work. Well, the other places in the building, other offices can do theirs from home. So we have half the people at work, the instructors that teach the students, us that schedule the students, and our registrar are all at work. And the other half of the building, they're doing their jobs from home. because they can,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, and the bottom line is they don't want to come into work at the office. They would rather stay home. And it goes back to what you said earlier, you know, how do you know what they're doing at home? It's like when I was home Monday and Tuesday, well, actually Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I did work from home, but I had to go back to the basics, paper and pen to do it.
Yeah.
And email.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I've been giving my clients is to let them know, and then candidates as well, document what you're doing. Because if there's no way, like in sales and in staffing in general, you're documenting in the system. So, you know, on my calls that I'm making to candidates, I'm making calls to clients, it's all documented in the system. So someone could run activity and see, okay, maybe they're not seeing everything I'm doing all day, but they can see that there's stuff done. But when you're doing other jobs like administrative tasks and things like that, a lot of times it's a project that's being done, but you can at least talk about, okay, from, you know, 9 to 11, I was focused on X project and I accomplished X, Y, and Z. And I always say to do that just to cover your ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, and the, you know what, hits the fan, you know, and if someone comes to you and questions it, I don't want to be like, well, I did stuff, I was working all day, and then be defensive about it. I can say, hang on, let me get my notebook. All right, yesterday, what time of the day did you want me to talk about? Morning or afternoon? Okay, in the morning I did X, Y, and Z. In the afternoon I did dot, 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 dot. But if you've got all that, you're not getting defensive. It's the ones who do get defensive, though, for the most part, who really weren't getting as much as they thought they were.
Definitely.
I can tell you that. Well, guys, I better let you go because it's saying that it's 1 minute, less than 1 minute, which means they'll cut us off and I won't be able to say goodbye and tell y'all that I love you. So, I will see you all next week, and we will talk about the third habit in high performance habits. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. And hopefully we'll be out of this COVID thing by the end of the month at the latest. Okay. Bye, everyone. See y'all later. Bye.